Welcome to the Informer. Today I'm going to analyze for you guys the former First Lady Mama Kenyatta speech. She's a lady who rarely speaks, and when she speaks, guys, people listen. And she just spoke the other day in Kiambu yesterday, and after she spoke, guys, she was trending. And I'm going to tell you guys why she was trending. I'm going to tell you if really whatever she said was something that has any effect on today's politics, and the reaction that different people had and why people had such reactions. So guys, let's sit back, relax, and listen to what the former First Lady said. She spoke in Kikuyu dialect, but we're going to translate it.
Ekiwere acio mararumana toko matigoro uguo angikorwo irumi icio ni uria marutirwo magikura ndeke mwire ithuĩ tugerie kwendana bũrũri-inĩ witũ na tũtwarithie maũndũ ma bũrũri na mbere na mũmenye na kũrĩa mũrorete na mũtongoria wanyu ndangĩhota kũmuonia kũrĩa njĩra ĩrĩa ĩtagĩrĩire ndĩmwĩre gũthiĩ na mbere kũmenya atĩ mũtegeti na harĩa mũndũ aikaire nĩwe ũgũkĩrĩa thambo ĩrĩaga na ndarĩ na ũru no ningĩ ũngĩkĩonio ũru nĩ ũrĩa mũnyinyi waku-rĩ wagĩtindania nake githĩ tũthiĩ na mbere ndeke mwĩre kũrĩa aramuonia mũrore kuo na ndamũcokeria ngatho mũno.
So basically, Mama Ngina Kenyatta was just talking about the disagreement between our president, President Kenyatta, and our deputy president, DP Ruto. And if you listen keenly, she was saying that our President Kenyatta necessarily didn't have a disagreement as per se with the deputy president. I mean, they had a disagreement, but it is saying that the president has never had an issue with the deputy president. So in simple terms, he's just trying to say that the president really wanted to work with the deputy president, but the deputy president had the issue, because there's nowhere she said that the deputy president had no issue with his boss. What she said was that the president had no issue with the deputy. And that she went ahead and said that the only thing that was happening was that the deputy president was doing some things that are not good, you see, in the eyes of the president. And why I'm saying that is because this is exactly what she said. And I quote, "If your deputy rebels, will you focus on such matters or will you continue with your work?" So she was just trying to say that the deputy president was just doing some things that the president didn't think were right. In other words, the deputy president was sabotaging his boss. And that's why the president tried to work with his deputy. And when he noticed that it wasn't going to work, he decided to look for other ways of working. And in that, he decided to move on. That was the first point. So many people have been asking themselves about what's up with the president, with the deputy, and blah, blah, blah. Have these guys been fighting? And anyway, according to the president's mom, who happens to be our first lady, is that these people just had a disagreement, and the disagreement is not on the side of the president, but on the side of the deputy, in that is the deputy who was trying to sabotage his boss. Point number 2 was that how some people go around insulting other people. According to my analysis and according to my research, is that she was talking about the deputy at the same time, because she talked about somebody insulting somebody and talking about this somebody who insults this somebody, talking about the raising of this somebody who insults this somebody. In other words, she was avoiding mentioning names, but she was simply talking about the deputy president insulting the president and other people. Because we always know, some people will say that I'm taking sides, but according to me, of course, all our politicians go around insulting other people. And that will take, I'll explain to you also, there are people who came around on the internet and talked about how the former first lady is talking about a ring of other people who insult some other people, and yet she forgets to talk about her son, who has been quoted in the past insulting some people. Anyway, from my point, from my analysis, both sides of the story are making some sense. You see, Google President Uhuru Kenyatta insults, you'll find him insulting some people. You'll find him some places talking about some people being mad, and you can get him talking, calling some people mad people, and calling some people, all sorts of names. When some people come and raise such a point, they have a point still. But now, if you ask me who has to gain and who has to lose in all this, takes me to the third point about what the country's first lady said. And she's talked about the upbringing of Deputy Ruto, and she said that those people who insult people are people who have funny upbringing. She said that there's a problem with how they were brought up. So that also brought the internet on fire. Many people talked so badly about it. And I'm just going to give you guys what I think about that too. And lastly, she talked about the president's succession. And she asked the congregate, the guys who are listening to her, people from the mountain, people who understand Kikuyu dialect. That's why I think she chose to speak in Kikuyu. And the next thing she said was about the succession of the president, because election is just a few months away. She started by saying that the president can never mislead his people, and that the guys should follow, guys in this case I mean the people from Mount Kenya, should follow what their leader, who happens to be the president, what their leader asks them to. And she said that their leader can never mislead them. Finally, she said that the president is in a better position to tell us who the deputy president really is, because he's worked closely to him compared to the rest of us who haven't actually had the opportunity to do the same. That was a point, and now that was his point. Then she's finished by thanking them, and yeah, that's the part of the speech that I want to analyze. So I would like to say that politics is all a matter of perception, guys. And if you ask me, with my little experience in political analysis and lessons I learned in my political science class, I'll just tell you that when the former first lady speaks, Mama Ngina, people should listen. And there's a reason why I'm saying that. Number one is because she's the first lady of this country. She's just not any other woman. She's just not any other woman. I heard people saying in the internet that she's a mother to the president, so she should not talk like that because he's talking about the son. And I was like, it's okay, she's talking about the son, but don't forget that she was once the first lady of this country. So she's very powerful. She held a docket that is rarely held by people in this country. Only few women have held it. Less than 5 women have held it in this country. So that shows you how powerful that post is. And then secondly, she's just not any former first lady. She's one of the most, if not, she's one of the richest women in this country. And what I learned in political economy is that power comes with money, and money comes with power. So let me explain this point. When you have money, you can easily get power. And when you have power, you can easily get money. That's a good example of most of our leaders. Many people in our country have a very bad idea and a very bad notion that if you want to be super rich, you get into politics, and they're very right, and it's working for them. And also, when you have power, you might not even need money because you can access anything. A good example of Mother Teresa. She never used to have money, but she could get into any airport and she could be offered the VIP seat and travel to any part of the world she would want to. You see, because she was very powerful. So that is Mama Ngina for you. If you think she's not powerful, then at least accept that she's very rich. And if she's rich, she's powerful. Mama Ngina is one of the people who determine who become the president of this country. And there has been a speech around that, there's been a story about that, there's been news around about whether there is a presence of deep state or not. So there is a deep state, and its effect is what varies from one country to another. But in Kenya, the deep state is so powerful, and that's why I can say without that shadow of a doubt that the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has won elections before, and he's never been sworn in because of the same deep state, because the deep state has always been against him. So that's why he's never been the president. That's one of the reasons why he's never been the president. So so the one of the people, or one of the heads of the deep state, he happens to be Mama Ngina. I don't know. Some people will say that I'm lying. Some people will say that I need to give a proof for this. But that's it. Here's the deputy president addressing Mama Ngina Kenyatta in the past and confessing her power and her effect on elections in this country.
Nataka nimuulize mama wetu Her Excellency Mama Ngina Kenyatta, safari hiyo ingine aliita Uhuru Kenyatta as her firstborn. Sasa siku hiyo ingine uniite your secondborn, kwa sababu niko hapa. Nikuje nifanye hiyo ingine ambayo imebaki. Sina namna hiyo.
Now, after Mama Ngina spoke, there are people who said that Mama Ngina, especially the guys from the UDA or the Kenya Kwanza, said that now this is a big proof, an open proof, that Raila Odinga is a government project and is a deep state project. Well, that makes some sense. There's a point there. I always like to say the truth. There is a point there. And this is the one way that this Mama Ngina speaking about her supporting the former prime minister. This is one disadvantage that her saying that made. That's the one disadvantage that the former prime minister gets out of this. Because now it gives the UDA guys and the Kenya Kwanza, an opportunity to elevate their narrative of the fact that Raila Odinga is a deep state project, and for that case, a government project. So, if you ask me, I'll tell me, yeah, in a way, yes, it's true that by Mama Ngina standing up and saying that they are supposed to support Raila Odinga, she's simply saying that the deep state is supporting Raila Odinga. But whether Raila Odinga is a project of a deep state, that is a story for another day. And there's a video I've made on that, whether Raila Odinga is a deep state. But now, for a short answer, I'll tell you, I don't think so. I don't think Raila is a deep state. I think Raila is too big to be a deep state. But I have analysis on that on this same channel, so you don't forget to subscribe for such. So at least, whether it is true or not, remember I told you guys that politics is all a matter of perception. So there are guys who are going to believe the UDA guys when they go around and tell people that Raila is a government project, and Mama Ngina coming out supporting him is an obvious evidence that that's true, that supports the same. So in a way, that's a disadvantage for Raila. So for the Raila supporters who are overexcited with this speech, if you asked me if I was an advisor, I would advise Mama Ngina to support former Prime Minister back without coming forward and saying it. But there are people who also say that she needed to do it so that the people from Mount Kenya will know that she's really serious and that the president is serious about supporting the former Prime Minister. So that's an analysis of another day, but at least now that issue about Raila being a project, that is an issue that now is elevated, and I've already seen the DP Ruto and his supporters already talking about it, and they're already talking about Raila being a project. So yes, that's one point, one of the effects of that speech by the former First Lady. With the effect of Mama Ngina's speech, she also talked about the deputy president insulting people and that the deputy president was not brought up well. So, okay, honestly guys, as I said, everybody insults people in politics in Kenya, like almost everybody. But there's this side that we know that is known for always insulting people almost all the time. And one of the people that we know that never never ever refers to the former prime minister by his name is nobody but the deputy president. I've never heard him to call Raila by his name. I can't remember when last I did that. He always refers to him as jamaa vitendawili or kitendawili, mganga, jamaa wa kuzimia, like all the bad names, like just funny names. And you've also heard him talking about the other group. He never refers to them as the Azimio. He tells them he refers to them as wale watu wa kuzimia. He refers to the president as wale watu wa kulewa na kuvuta bangi. So when we talk about it, and he calls Atuoli yule mzee wa Nyororo, and he was even saying that in front of former ex-wife to Atuoli. And man, you guys, when you talk about that, these guys insult people, but we know that one person who insults people who insults people the most is the deputy president, you see. And I'm not trying to say that insulting people is bad. Maybe it's working because it's been working for him. He's been consistent with this ever since I knew him. He's always been somebody who when he makes speeches about the opponents, he's always very mean in his words. So, and it's been working for him because you can't help but admit that he's one of the most fastest rising politician in this country, if not the fastest ever rising politician in this country. So, whatever he's doing is working for him, but now, apart from it working for him, now it raises the question about the moral of this man. Because, honestly, guys, if there's something that people have really been discussing and people have been talking negatively about with the deputy president, is about his morals. People have been calling him mwizi, to mean a thief, to call him corrupt. People have been saying that he's immoral, that he impregnated a certain lady. I can remember there's a time people were calling him Baba Abi because of this lady that he impregnated and he was not taken care of, as the lady was saying then. And this guy has had so many insults on him, and people have accused him of him. And even the Martha Karua, I can remember saying when she was just crossing over to start supporting officials to join Azimio, she was talking about the morals of the people vying, and she said that she's going this side because this side has people who have more moral. So this brings to question the issue about moral. And if you ask me about sexual morality, like talking about the DP Ruto not having good sexual morals by not taking care of kid and stuff, I can tell you guys that one has no much effect in this country. It doesn't affect so much. I can remember Mukisa Kitui had some funny videos leaking out, some pictures leaking out with him. Videos with him and a certain lady, and people forgot about it. And right now, people moved on so fast. So I think those are the things that people are so fast to forget in this country, and people really don't care so much about it. Quite unfortunately, though. But now coming back, analyzing the moral of this man, our deputy president, I think it might not affect so much, but there's one or two people somewhere who are affected by this. Because when you hear him come out and talk about supporting the border borders, comparing the border borders with any other type of work, when the president tries to crack on border borders and try to put them in line, considering the fact that everybody knows that they have not been good. Majority of them have not been good, and there's a big number of them who have been criminals, and the president has been working to try and put that in line. But he came around and talked about mentioning that those people are good, and saying that they're supposed to be allowed to work, and trying to say that scrap metal too are supposed to work like any other. And also people know why the scrap metal was scrapped, and because there were some mischievous people who are using scrap metal to sell the country's KPLC properties, you see. And that was not going on right, because it was affecting. There's a day that the whole country had a blackout just because of that. So the president, when he works to do that, and the deputy comes out and tries to support the bad guys, and people are calling him the bad guy, it makes him look more of a bad guy, for lack of a better word. So in a way, this one was more exposing to the deputy president, and it's more exposing to his morals. So I don't know so much. What I know is it might not be so important, but it is a factor that these people are talking about. And the more you strengthen your opponent's narrative against you, the worse it is for you. So when your opponent come around and say that you are immoral, and things come out that show that you are immoral, and you say things and you try to support people who the whole society think are doing things which are immoral, and you try to come against people who are trying to finish those things, then it works against you. So if you ask me, that is what I can take on that. Then the Mama Ngina talked about upbringing. That goes back to the same thing. Many people have been talking around about the boda boda guys. I want to use them as an example. And guys, it's unfortunate about what we saw about a week ago at Forest Road, what those guys did to that lady. I don't even want to talk about it. And that speaks loudly about the moral of our country, the moral of the people, the young people we're bringing up in this country. And when we have our leaders stand up, the people we depend on to talk and take to the youth and show them the right way, the right morals, and how to behave as men, stand up and say that, to talk against anybody who's trying to correct them. Guys, come on. UDA guys, come on. I don't mean to support any side, but that is wrong. You don't do that. You don't do that. Upbringing in this country is funny, and when somebody tries to talk about it right, you're supposed to allow it, and don't go around saying that our young people are supposed to be allowed to do anything that they want to do without apology. That is not acceptable. In all this, I'll say that anyway, I'll say after this I'll say it's Raila Odinga, and why I'm saying this is with this last point. When Mama Ngina came forward and said that they are supporting the former prime minister, that people are supposed to be, are supposed to be confident that whatever the president tells his people to do is right. That is an outright spoken word from one of this country's deep state, saying that we are supporting this man. So that simply means, you guys, that the only thing that can stop the former prime minister from being president is him losing, and it's not the deep state anymore. The deep state are behind this man. So I know some guys are not going to like this, but that's it, guys. Thank you for listening. Thanks for keeping me around, and don't forget to subscribe as we move forward and analyzing our country, trying to make our country a better, and telling you guys as it is on the Informer. Thank you, and God bless Kenya, and God bless you and your family. Have a good day.